god, does that mean the intro is gonna be me getting into my chair this time?
Oh my god. Everything is changing on this channel. You don't even know. Never let them know your next move.
That's why Claire doesn't use her signal lights.
Yeah.
Stresses me out. Actually, you do.
I do. Oh my god. Okay, I finally got my paperwork for my car.
I was wondering that today when you picked me up.
Listen, the Washington Department of Licensing actually sucks so much. Like, I hate it. And I have been dealing with them for at least 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Just trying to get my title and like my new plates and my new tags for my car. And they've been less than helpful, I will say. And like the DMV and like all that stuff, they're known for being really, really bad. But this was just like really bad. Like, I had to repeatedly call them multiple times a week, asking them to fax in a piece of paper, which, first of all, why are we still faxing? I have no idea. But I called them multiple times to see if they would actually fax in this piece of paperwork to California, where I moved from over a year ago. And they literally just got the title
to
like
you.
5 months later, after 5 months after I kicked off this whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And like the one time I went in to check to see like what the progress was, and when I left, I got a ticket for parking at the
I
Department
do
of
remember you
Licensing.
telling me that.
And I was
That's
like,
kind of the worst.
yeah, I was like, I got a ticket here for being responsible to go check on the title and the progress to make sure. I hate it. One thing about Washington, you can never park anywhere for free.
Yeah.
Like, what's that about?
I hate it. I hate that I have to pay for parking, and it's like fucking expensive too. Especially I live in like downtown, so like if anyone comes to visit me, sorry not sorry, you got to pay for parking, and it's fucking expensive. It's like
It's so annoying.
at least a couple bucks an hour. So like even if someone comes to visit me for like 10 minutes, they have to pay like almost $1. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. It's really stupid. I
hate it.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, why is that even a thing? Like, in San Diego, you can park wherever. Like, in LA, you can park wherever. Like,
the fact that California doesn't like, that's my beef. If California's not charging, why the fuck are we doing it? Because everything's expensive in California. Like,
everything is. And yet in Washington, they're like, you have to pay if you want to have a car anywhere.
Yeah.
If your car exists, you're paying for it. I mean, that's kind of in every state, but still.
But I think even more so. Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to the Midnight Memo. My name is Claire.
And I'm Kristen.
And we are so excited to have you.
Can you hear her excitement?
Yeah. My tone of voice really gives it away.
For sure.
It's the fact that I was just talking about the Department of Licensing. It just really makes me sad. So we're going to skirt off from that topic.
Starting on a strong note.
Exactly.
You know?
If you didn't notice, or if you're watching the videos on Spotify,
hint, plug again.
Yes, we have a new little setup here. Gives more of the nighttime vibes.
Most of that is because Claire's last setup broke between this episode and the last one.
Literally, almost everything is new. Like, the couch is new. If you remember, I had a brown couch before. Now it's gray, and it's a recliner. So
that was not a brown couch.
It was.
It was more like yellow than brown.
Girl. This is not the first time you've been wrong about colors.
No, you guys are just all wrong.
Gab,
don't bring this man in it. It literally had a yellow background, and he put a blue light on it that makes fucking green. You guys are all just idiots and never passed elementary school.
For sure. All of us are wrong except for you.
It is. If you watch the video, it's a yellow background, and then they throw a blue light on it, which, say it with me, ladies and gents, makes green. And all you guys are like, it's fucking blue. I'm like,
okay, go back to all of the previous videos. Tell me if it's a yellow couch or not. You're gonna look like a fool.
It's yellow.
It's a brown couch.
It has brown couch. It has brown in it, but it's
red dots.
Yellow. Yes, there are red dots, but it's mostly yellow.
No, it's not.
It absolutely is.
It is not yellow.
It is absolutely yellow. Maybe I just only see it in the yellow light of your
Maybe.
And if so, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that. Because every time I come in here, it looks yellowish.
Well, I would like it on record that it's a brown couch.
I hate
Anyway,
and everything.
We have a great couch now.
Why do I hang out with you people?
And we have some cute little colorful lights because my other string lights literally died. I don't know what happened.
And it was like right before we were gonna record.
Yeah.
What was that? Whenever you see the light suddenly disappear in these videos, that's when it died. Right before we recorded that episode.
I think it was like 2 weeks ago that they died.
Yeah.
But anyway, this gives more of a nighttime vibe anyway. So we like it.
It could help that we're actually recording at night, but you don't know that.
On the record, it was so late that it was bright outside.
Because that's how...
Yeah, that's how it works. Time is irrelevant.
True. Time is just a construct. I was gonna say we were talking about that at my work the other day and talking about how like time is just a construct, daylight saving sucks, and then someone was talking about how like the earth is slowly tidal waves and things and it's slowly speeding up, so now like seconds aren't quite accurate, so we're gonna have to start throwing in like a second every couple of days, basically like a leap year but for seconds. And I was like, that's too much. I believe them.
Space is crazy.
But that's just so much.
It is. It's a lot. I did hear that.
Throw in
like,
a second every once in a while.
The Earth is supposedly like not on the same axis anymore, or something like that. Guys, for the longest time, I thought Earth was a perfect circle, and it's not. Because it's like, in all the science textbooks, it's portrayed as like a perfect sphere.
Okay.
But it's not. It's like has a weird dent in part of it, and like, I mean, it makes sense now because like you're thinking about it. Oh, it's a space rock, but like.
Right.
I don't know why I was just like, yes, dude, it's a perfect circle.
Oh my gosh, who was this person that I know their face, but I cannot remember their name right now. He was the one that did the space TikTok that you sent me.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
He's a black dude. I don't remember.
Oh.
Wrong.
So not him.
Oh my god, his name is escaping me right now. Anyways, I'll figure it out. Claire can throw a little text in this or something. But I was watching him do a TikTok, and he was saying that if you shrunk the earth down all the way to like a cue ball, to the size of a cue ball, it'll be the most perfectly smooth cue ball ever. Almost, if not just as smooth as like a real cue ball. And that's because the distance of like the hills and the valleys of the earth, the distance between them is no more than 12 miles. So if you shrink that down all the way to like proportionally of a cue ball, that's like next to nothing.
I mean, that makes sense.
Right. But I was like, that feels so weird to know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Random earth facts.
Anyway, we're now a science channel. Just kidding. Most everything we say on this channel is probably not scientifically proven.
What do you mean? We're so factual.
True. You know what? I take that back.
Like the fact that your
Studies
couch
have
is
proven,
yellow.
No. Studies have proven that everything we say on this podcast is 100% correct.
Everything you read on the internet is true.
Yeah. This week, we wanted to talk about The Purge.
Dun, 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 dun.
Insert music. Yes, The Purge. And what would happen if The Purge was real?
Right.
So, I was thinking about this earlier in the week, or even last week.
Yeah. We were talking about this last week because we were talking about spooky things. I don't know if this conversation was branched off of the spooky things and like, oh, is it quite fall yet because it's beginning of September, blah, 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 or if that conversation happened out of inspiration of The Purge. But I'm pretty sure we started with that conversation and then we took a hard left and you were like, what about The Purge? And we're like, okay, cool. We're here now.
Yeah. But I was like, what if The Purge was real?
Yeah.
Would murder be the number one crime? Or like, what would be the number one crime if The Purge was real? Because if you guys have seen the Purge movies or heard of the Purge franchise, I'll give a really quick overview. But definitely
Movies
read about it.
By Claire.
Yeah. But basically, the premise of The Purge is that in the US, in the near future, there are 12 hours a year where any and all crimes are legal. So, on that premise, what if it was real and people actually did that, what would be the biggest crime? Because in the movies, they are basically pushing for the fact that murder would be the biggest crime. Yeah. In the movies, there's, I think I've only seen the first one, but there's definitely a group of people who go and try to like hunt down another family and kill everyone in that family, I believe. So it's like very based on that. And I strongly believe that murder would not be the number one.
I agree with you. I don't think it would be the number one, but obviously it's going to be jacked up more than normal probably, but I think the number one crime would be robbery of a sorts, whether that's of individual people or businesses or what. And I think that could quickly devolve into murder. But I think most normal people, I would like to believe, I still have very little faith in the human race, truthfully. I'm very cynical in that way. But I would think that most people wouldn't outwardly go hunting down people, usually. But as for, like, if there was no consequences and they were given the littlest bit of slight, like being robbed, I think people would just easily, like, all right, you're dead to me. Like, take it extreme. I don't know. Maybe?
I don't know. Because, like, yes, I believe, I mean, there's violence, you know, like, if you were to, like, shove someone, they would shove you back situation.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't even think that theft, like, if someone were to steal something from me, that I would be like, I'm going to resort to killing you.
That's fair.
You know,
so
like,
do you think the thing that stops us is, now I'm going to go deep, is personal morals or the law? Do you think people don't kill out of the fear of what are the consequences of that? Like getting charged with, what is the word for that? Manslaughter?
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, I meant the legal term, like manslaughter or something like that. Or is it more that they don't want to kill a person, like morally for their conscience, like they don't want to do that? Because I think we think it's morals, but I think a good portion of it is the consequences legally.
I mean, yeah, there are, like, I think both of us are probably like we can classify ourselves as rule followers, whatever. But at the same time, I still feel like everyone has those natural thoughts about, oh, someone does you wrong, like, oh, like, I wouldn't mind running you over with a car. Like, I wouldn't, like, you know, when someone cuts you off on the freeway.
Yeah.
You're like,
I definitely make those threats.
Yeah, you're like, I could, like,
rage.
rear end you right now, or, like, I could, like, clip your car, whatever.
Yeah. Do you ever think about playing bumper cars? Intrusive thoughts now. We're going to ADD. Intrusive thoughts when you're driving. When someone's, like, really, like, just annoying you, and you're like, what happens if I just tap the back of your car?
Okay, I always do it when, like, someone's rear-ending or tailgating me.
No, same,
I'm
actually.
like, I will brake check you right.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
right
care if you hit my car, but then at the same time, I'm like, actually, don't do that. Like,
yeah, I don't really want to go through my insurance company. Yeah, so it's like the legality of that would definitely, like, deters me from, like, having people rear end my car or whatever.
For sure.
But at the same time, too, it's like pure laziness that I don't want to have to go through the process of getting anything fixed.
Right.
And I guess, like, I never have the idea of playing, like, bumper cars with other cars, but for motorcyclists, especially in California, because they're allowed, it's legal for you to like weave through other cars.
Yeah, right on the dotted line of the lanes and stuff.
I would not mind just ramming into one of those cyclists.
As someone who loves motorcycles, rude.
Listen, they're never respectful about it.
I was gonna say, I do recognize a good portion of the people who are doing that are abusing that law. Like, there's a need for it. Like, when you're in traffic, do you know why they have that law?
No,
they do it because
to be annoying.
No, because in traffic, if you're just sitting there in traffic, like if you were in California, the bike overheats, and because your legs are on it, that's a danger to you.
I gotcha.
So it is for safety reasons. So it's more, I'm pretty sure it's meant for that reason of, like, you feel it overheating, you gotta get home and, like, turn this shit off. Like, okay, beeline it through, don't wait in traffic for the next 4 hours.
Yeah.
That sort of a thing. But I do agree, most of the people who are driving along the dotted line are the people who are being dicks and don't even need to be doing it. Like, traffic's moving, things are going, and they're just zooming in between, and then they're being dicks. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's the most outraging thing ever. And, like, I will say, like, usually the people I see in, like, the bicycle gangs, and they're on the like, the bigger, like, hogs, or I think they're called. They're vibing, you know. They have their, like,
just two people, little packs. Like,
they have two people on one bike. They're just hanging out. Like, they're lovely motorcyclists. But, like, it's usually the young guys who are just like zipping through all these cars, and I'm like, you're gonna get hit, and then you're gonna be like, poor me for getting hit, but you're the one being the asshole on the road.
And then they don't make their mufflers loud enough, so then they're just
and they come out of nowhere.
Exactly, because their mufflers aren't loud enough.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't like those people. So that's when I'm like, I could hit you with my car and I wouldn't feel bad.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Other than that, like, if we're going back to
The
original question of would I escalate to murder, and would it be moral, or like is it the legality that's holding me back from it? I don't think so. Like, me as a person, as much as I would say like, oh, like if it's legal and there are no consequences, then I'll just kill the person I hate the most. At the same time, it's like, once you take a life, and if you're not really like the type of person who's usually in that mindset, I think it could really just take a toll on you, even if it's someone you don't like, you know, because it's like a big deal. So I don't think I mean,
that's why there's like war veterans have PTSD, or one of the many reasons, right? Like, and at that point it's for maybe I'm going into something else maybe, but like more, or like legally, if you're fighting for your country, you're in war, whatever, like killing this other person is quote unquote legal. But morally, that's what usually fucks up most veterans, right? Is like one of the many things. Yeah,
that's a hard position. Because it's like you're fighting for your country, but you also acknowledge that they're fighting for their country.
Right. They're doing what's right for their country. You're doing what supposedly is right for your country, like that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it is. Okay, maybe it is the moral thing. That I would still. Yeah, it's just so interesting that, I guess maybe just because it's a horror movie, they're pushing like the murder, like you said, murder is going to be the top crime. I still don't believe that, like you said. I don't think it would be the top crime.
Because here's a hot take.
I don't know.
I think that the people who would murder during the Purge would murder outside of the Purge too.
That's okay. Yeah, I totally back up that.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, like it's at that point legality isn't a stressor for them, like getting caught doing it. But I think that's
the only thing restricting them is the people who are gonna kill in the Purge, is like the legality of it and the consequences of it. So they're just like itching and waiting for that.
Yeah,
like you said, they would do it outside of a Purge. The only thing stopping them is the legality, which is the whole point of the Purge. So that's their one barrier, their one wall, and once that's gone in the Purge, they're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Full force.
Yeah. Because there are technically no consequences.
Yeah.
So, which is also crazy. Like, the idea of the Purge, everyone's murdering one another. There would be so many bodies. Like, what is the
We were talking about this for the 12 hours.
Yeah.
If the Purge is for 12 hours, and then people are just going around murdering for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it goes, what? Sundown to sun up, right? Okay, sun's up, 6 a.m., whatever. You're getting ready for work at 7 a.m. to go to your 8 a.m. job, and there's just, like you said, if it's murder everywhere, bodies, like, do we just ignore that? Is there a Purge cleanup crew?
Oh my God, do you think they would pay well?
They have, would it be normal street cleaner people? And then it's just like a holiday bonus of like the Purge, you know what I mean? Like a one day one off, like instead of time and a half, like 3 times.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or is it like a Santa Claus thing?
I don't want to say that I feel like I know cleaning up dead bodies would be a lot harder than regular.
I mean, we're talking about how we need to do a murder mystery, like, crime episode, because we're both obsessed with true crime.
Yeah.
But that aside,
I think
given that background,
I think it would be a lot. There's a lot more involved in cleaning up and disposing of dead bodies than it is like trash on the street.
No, so it absolutely is.
So I think the cleanup crews would have to be specialized people. You know, because like,
but also, and then okay, how long are we talking for the cleanup? Like, say Purge ends at sunrise, we're gonna rough it out 6:30, right? 6, let me round up, 7. People trying to get to work by 8, 9. Are you gonna clean up that whole city in an hour? Because then you need a lot of people to do that.
Yeah.
And if you need a lot of people to do that, how, like, do they not participate in the Purge? Or is that now their job? So like, you're literally like murdering someone at like, have you seen those memes that like, I'm doing this at 3 o'clock, but I gotta hit the club by 4 or something like that? It's like that. We're like, you're murdering someone at 6:59. Hit 7.
And then you use it as the blood of flush on your face.
You gotta zip up the hazmat that you have underneath your clothes and then go to cleaning up. Like,
I don't know.
Or is it a reserve of people? Like, these people are not allowed to participate in the purge because they gotta clean up the purge?
I don't know.
Oh, the purge scare that we had freshman year.
We did have a purge scare, like a real life purge scare.
Was that our freshman year? That was our freshman year.
That was our freshman year.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Guys, this is a real life purge story that we have.
What had happened was we had went out to a party with a few friends and we were walking back. And while we were walking back, one of our friends was very, very drunk. And we're walking through Spokane. It's nighttime. It's a little sketchy. We're in the residential area, so it's like not too bad, but it's still like sketchy. Not a lot of street lights.
Yeah.
Very dark.
The neighborhood that surrounded our campus was not the safest neighborhood.
Yeah. Despite being a residential area.
Yeah.
And then someone else in our group, we're walking and she just jets off to the side. And we're like, where did she go? And then we looked down and she went down this really thin alleyway. And only about halfway down the alleyway, you can see a single light. And underneath that light, there are, what would you say, at least 15.
Yeah, there were just a bunch of guys.
At least 15 dudes.
Yeah, they had masks on and they had like actual bats with
nails
in
like
it.
Pipes, metal pipes.
Yeah. And like from far away, we were like, I honestly thought, I was like, oh, they're just like really cool costumes. Like they're in the purge.
I froze. I know. I remember freezing.
I think again, my memory really sucks, but I do think that I was like pulled along with Kate into the alleyway. Yeah. So I was just like, oh, these guys, they have really cool costumes. They went in like I am.
Oh my God. Yeah, you were. You were with her. And then I was stuck with our other friend, R.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got pulled in. Cause I remember being with R and he was, cause I stopped and he was kind of like, like, who do I defend? He's like, me standing by myself or these two girls who are running towards a pack of armed men, not like with guns, but like they had bats. They had bats with nails on it. They had metal pipes. There was still.
I thought everything was fake.
Because I remember you said that afterwards. I was like, no, Claire, that was not fake. So then Kay starts pulling Claire over to the group of guys, and so they're like faced in a circle, right? They're kind of like powwowing, huddled up, and then I guess they hear her coming because she's like
skipping down.
Yeah, she was skipping. She was pretty drunk and kind of not belligerent, but like she was very happy-go-lucky. So she's like making a scene coming down them. So they all like turned and looked at her, and then the circle just opened. And that was terrifying to watch, truthfully. Because the circle just opened, you and Kay went right in the middle, and the circle closed. And me and R are like, fuck. So he was like, not splitting up the gang, grabbed my hand, and now we're going towards it. And I'm like, what is happening? Because I don't want to be going there. But I also was obviously not going to leave you guys. But I was like, I don't want to run towards the danger, but I need to save you. So we go towards, and yeah, thank God. We fully abused ours like male privilege on this. Like, thank God. He's pretty tall too. Like, not towering like tall, but he's a pretty tall dude. Mm-hmm. So I think that absolutely helped our case because so we show up to the huddle and these guys start to open up and they tried to pull me in, but R like wrapped his arm around me and he was like, no, she's with me. Like, and I'm actually taking the two of them. And they were like, these guys were just like talking, like it was a boys huddle and they were kind of like trying to, they were asking Kay, they're like, oh, do you want to come join our purge? We're going to go we're going to go to the baseball field and we're just going to start the purge. And I'm like, no, you're not. But also like, I'm not going to tell armed men this either.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in the huddle, they were like trying to get us to join their purge, and Kay is all like, sure, I'll join, and you were like, no, and now you
I'm okay.
And you like, that's when you hooked arms with her, and then so like now we have two links and then R puts his other arm around you, now we are a chain, and these guys started they saw that R had all of us huddled up and he was just gonna like break out of the circle and take us, and then these guys got defensive. They like tightened the circle on us, and then they were like, where are you going, bro? Where are you taking them? And I was like, where are you? Like you have authority to quote quote take us. We can't.
Yeah.
Like we were with him. I don't know you, bro. But yeah, they were getting all up in R's face, and thank God he's like a pretty smooth talker. So he just kind of was like, oh, like we're on our way. We're going out this way. Like don't even worry about it. They're with me. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but he just kind of charmed his way through it and like broed up to one of these purge dudes as he was like trying to talk down one purge dude, and I remember the other ones are like talking to us, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh, we gotta go, I want to get out of here. So luckily we finessed our way out of that and we got out, but that was super scary.
Yeah, that was weird. And then like afterwards we had passed them another time, where our gave them like, oh yeah, like this is the house that we're going to.
They were like, oh, we're meeting up with you, are you guys still heading to that party that you were talking about? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he gave them the address we just came from.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And then I think it was like the next morning, there was a report that this house had gotten broken into and like all like...
There was possibly an injured student.
Yeah, like, so we were like, oh shit, like they were actually trying to do the purge for real.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know for sure if that was related, but we're like signs kind of point in that direction, and R felt super bad. I mean, I still feel bad too, but like these guys were coming at us, and like I don't think R had no idea that they were gonna do anything, But yeah, like if that was them, they broke into the house, which was already an open party, so that was already stupid, and then they ransacked the house. So that was terrifying.
But that's our real life purge story.
Yeah, fun.
Super fun.
This is why I didn't watch the movies.
It was a great time.
That was the first. Yeah, we binge watched the movies before Halloween. That happened on Halloween, and I was like, we're done with that for a little bit.
We're good. I'm fine.
I'm doing A-okay.
Yeah, but I think probably like breaking in and theft, would be, if the purge was in real life, those would probably be the biggest crimes committed, like because if you think about it, what do most people struggle with in the country? It's like needing resources, needing more money, needing like a car to get to work, needing like all that stuff. So I'm thinking that like if the purge was real, then people would steal cars, people would try to rob banks, people
even
would
more
like,
than need wants. Like people are selfish, so I think they would pick material things over, like we were talking about, slights, like murdering someone, right? So I agree. I think it would be for resources, for like stealing, robbery, that sort of a thing, more than murder, hopefully.
Also, I think I was looking at a list of like the top 10 most committed crimes within the US.
Okay.
And like murder is not even in the top 5.
That's surprising, and that's not so surprising to me.
Yeah, I think the first, actually, let me pull this up. Okay, so according to vipermedia.com, the top 10 crimes in the US, the first is property crime. So it's property
like
crime.
Vandalism?
Can consist of theft and destruction of property.
Okay.
Which makes sense because there are a lot of graffiti artists and all that stuff. Like literally in my apartment, right outside this window, you see a gorgeous rose that was made by someone.
Yeah. Honestly, it's really pretty.
Yeah, there's graffiti everywhere. Which
you can see it in the tunnel, like from the view of my apartment too. Like I always see them changing very slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, someone else got to that. Nice.
I always wonder too, like, when do they do that? I never see them.
Right? Okay.
Graffiti.
For me, it's like when they have, like, especially when you're driving on the freeway, the really tall, like, the green freeway signs, basically, that are like ridiculously tall.
When do they change that?
How do you get that? And then I'm like, okay, maybe if it's like, if the green sign is attached or like placed up against like a bridge, but then I'm like, what are you doing? Just like grapple hooking your way over the side to graffiti? I don't know. And like you say, I always, one of my biggest questions in life is like, when do they do it and how?
When do they put billboards up? I've never seen a billboard go up. I've only seen them already be there.
Are you talking about when they change it, or like physically building the billboard structure to place
either
it upon?
both?
I feel like I have seen a billboard changed,
I have never seen it.
but not like built.
I never like, I always see them like already there, and I'm like, when did you put that up? When do you have the time? Especially like in LA and stuff.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of billboards like that are really tall comparative to like where the rods are set up, and I'm like, how did you even get up there?
Great
Anyway.
cues. Great cues.
So crazy. Anyway, the
What's number
second
2?
the second is theft and larceny.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
Theft, burglary, vehicle theft, still theft. Number 5, aggravated assault.
Okay.
Which now we're getting into violence, but it's still not murder.
Yeah, and
So.
it's aggravated, so it's
Yeah.
like
If you're antagonizing me and you push me to a limit, then
yeah.
and then it's robbery, which is another type
We're
of
going
theft.
back to theft.
When does theft become robbery? Robbery become theft? Which one's like the umbrella?
I don't know.
Neither do I. Anyway,
Just questions, no answers on this podcast.
next is SA.
Oh, I was like, I understood that as essay, like ESSAY, like a written essay, and I was like,
They make us do that in college all the time.
I have a few choice words for some professors.
Write an essay. I have qualms.
Write an essay of my qualms of essay.
I'm sorry. This is a serious topic.
Sorry. Just, gosh, I totally misread the room on that. My B, fam. Anyway.
And then number 8 is murder.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it doesn't even break the top 5, which
I mean, it breaks the top 10. Which
breaks the top 10.
I would expect. Like, if it didn't make top 10, I'd be really shocked. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised there's that many colors of theft. But
Yeah. So, if the purge was real,
Yep.
what is the crime you think would be the biggest in reality?
I think theft and larceny. For sure.
Same.
Like, and it's like low commitment. I don't have a better word to say it, of like, just take the thing and go. Like, you don't have to, like, you are still going to, depending what you're stealing, right? You still are affecting someone, but like, and depending what you're stealing, if someone's, because people also like get very like in the Purge movies, they had like lockdowns, like the certain families like lock their shit down. So if you're trying to break in and steal something from them, yeah, it's not exactly an easy endeavor, but like, I think also how much do you think people, what portion of people do you think are locking themselves in? Like locked
The
down?
wealthy people.
Definitely the wealthy.
The 1%.
Definitely
Which is
the
like
1%. But I mean, how much of the middle class do you think? I guess it's my bigger question.
I think it's mostly the people who don't want to even participate or think about participating in the purge.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just be like, I'm gonna lock myself away for the next 12 hours. Like, I don't want to come into contact with anyone. I don't want to chance anything, which makes sense. Like, honestly, I don't think I would want to
No, I would
be
totally
involved. So I would just be like, okay, close my windows, like, just like sleep it off. I don't know, like, just be isolated from the world. Maybe like call family to make sure everyone else is safe, but other than that, I wouldn't, like, I would lock myself away.
Yeah. That's tough too. So like, what if you're locked away and then someone comes to rob you? Like, do you think then you would participate? Like, you're not choosing to participate. Someone has participated and done onto you at this point. Mm-hmm. Would you participate?
I would.
Like, would you defend your stuff?
I would defend myself, but I don't, like, yeah, if someone were to try to like harm me or something, I would defend myself and in that sense participate. But I feel like
what if they just
outside
went to
of
rob
the purge, I would still, I mean, inside and outside of the purge, if someone was trying to rob me, I'd try to defend myself. Mm-hmm. So, which is, I don't know, which like kind of defeats the point of the purge, because I feel like in many ways I would act the same way during the purge that I would outside the purge. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, if someone was going to attack you, you would defend yourself.
Yeah.
if someone were trying to rob you. You would try to protect your stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe that's why they leaned into the murder bit so much, is because that's the only thing that's like outrageous, kind of. Like, that's one of the crimes that's kind of outrageous and is in a lot of ways like unthinkable, I think, for most people, and doesn't have a rhyme or reason to it. So that's why, like, I think that's why they lean into, basically I'm saying, like, I think the reason why they lean into the murder aspect is because that's the only thing that, or probably the biggest difference of whether it's legal or not. Like you said, you would still defend yourself if it was the purge or not the purge.
Right.
Like, but if you're murdering someone in or out of the purge, like,
yeah.
I think, like, it's just the legality.
What would you do during the purge?
I would want to lock myself in, but I also don't trust that no one would come get me, you know? So I don't know what's the workaround to, like, completely isolate to make sure that I don't participate.
Yeah. And then it's also, like, the same time, like, why do you think you would be targeted to where you need to lock yourself?
Yeah, that's true, too.
Because, like,
it makes sense for the wealthy to lock themselves because they have shit to... Because that's what I was thinking, too. Like, if someone's coming to steal your stuff, right? Yeah, I would want to defend my stuff because I don't want anyone to steal my stuff. But at the same time, it's just stuff. So I would be like, all right, fuck it, get out of here.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, if they take my shit, because nothing gets... there's no consequences. Like, if they ransack me of everything, now I'm down however much it takes to replace all my shit. Because in theory, getting into legality things, like, insurance won't cover it, you know, because it's not a crime, I would think. Maybe? I don't
know. But, like, I don't even think... I mean, I could say, yes, I would lock myself up to protect myself.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm very unimportant to most of the world. So, like, no one would... And I'm thinking no one would really want to target me anyway.
Right.
So, like, I don't really have to worry about it. Because, like, when you think about, like... There's so many people here... Like, why would you be targeted?
But at the same time, because there's so many people, you can be targeted, I think. Because there's so many people in the apartment complex, like, it's so easy for them to just, like, get everyone in one fell swoop, I guess. Like, there's so much access that there's nothing stopping to not hit up everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you're unimportant, but because you're unimportant, there's nothing stopping them from just, you know, getting that much more of whatever they want to steal, for example. Like, if they can just steal one thing from you and one thing from this person and one thing from that person and one thing from that person.
Oh, then it's fine.
It accumulates, right? So
yeah, it's like those hackers that stole 5 cents from everyone at Target or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's like millions of dollars because there's so many people who shop at Target.
Right, yeah.
Dang, that's a crime I would do.
Crypto crime?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. If I was smart enough. Or I would...
If I could.
Listen, you storm the Capitol, because apparently it's very easy to do.
Step 1.
And then I would just erase all of the debts I have. Legal. Yeah. Now I don't owe you money.
Yeah, I think...
That would be the crime I would choose to do.
Yeah, if I were to commit a crime, I think it would be something like that. Like, no violence.
Yeah.
But gives me a little leg up.
Mm-hmm.
Or just, like, if I was smart enough to do any type of crypto things, like, just plug myself another $1 million, whatever.
Yeah.
Just plug myself $1 million. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And no consequences for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
T.
That's a good crime. I think so. I'm definitely going to think about this more now. Like, I think I've covered everything that I'm currently thinking of, but I will definitely be boggling over this for, like, tonight/tomorrow. So you might get some, like, very out-of-pocket texts from me. You guys should respond to us, reach out to us on our social media platforms. That'll be listed somewhere on the screen if you're watching the Spotify videos. Otherwise, go down to the description to find all of our links. They're usually the Midnight Memo.
Let us know what your crime would be during the purge, because I'm actually very curious. I just want to know.
Yeah.
Give me
I want
ideas.
to know what people's thoughts are. Like,
just steal a bunch of gift cards.
We're crowdsourcing. tall.
Just go to clothing stores and just steal a bunch of clothes.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you're listening to this. And we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. It's so much harder to do this.